Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to our coffee times to talk about horror. And today, yes, we have another horror movie review, as always, spoiler free.
It's coffee time.
The Monkey is a movie that I was excited about for several reasons. We all know it is a short story by Stephen King, and you all know I love Stephen King. And it's also directed by Perkins, and he has been a director that through time has impressed me more and more. When this movie was released in the theaters here in the Netherlands, sadly I was still in Spain, but the moment that I land in the Netherlands, I knew which was going to be my next destination, and that was going to go and see The Monkey. And 5 hours after I landed in the Netherlands, I was seated to watch this movie. So today I'm here to talk to you about the movie and let you know what I thought of it, spoiler free. This is an American comedy horror movie directed by Perkins, and it is based and inspired by a short story from Stephen King that was published a very long time ago, back in the 80s. And one of the places where it was published was in this short horror story compilation called Skeleton Crew. Now, if you have seen advertisement for this movie, the trailer, if you have seen the movie already, you might have noticed that the monkey that we have here has a different instrument, not like the one in the movie. But I kind of prefer actually to have the drum set, the drum thing, because I think these might have been way too annoying the whole movie. So I actually welcome that change. Perkins made his directorial debut with The Black Coat's Daughter, which was a psychological slow burn, and a lot of people don't know that movie, but I still feel like it's a very solid debut. Then he went on to do I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House. He also did Gretel and Hansel, and also Long Legs. And all of these movies are serious in tone and they have a big psychological aspect. But now we have in 2025 The Monkey, and this one is quite different to his other movies. When twin brothers find a mysterious wind-up monkey, a series of outrageous deaths tear the family apart. 25 years later, the monkey begins a new killing spree, forcing the estranged siblings to confront the cursed toy. Our main characters here are a set of twin boys, Hal and Bill. So when we get to meet them, they are, young kids, and the mom tells them that his father has left for them a lot of the things that he used to collect, and they're all in a closet. So the kids go through it, very excited to see what they can find, when they discover a box that contains a toy monkey. Now, they don't know where this monkey comes from, they don't know what it does, what it doesn't do, but as you might assume, they decide to turn it on, to turn the key and see if the monkey, plays the drum, or what is this monkey for? Oh, bless children's curiosity, because they are going to unleash evil. The brothers will try to get rid of the monkey when they realize that this thing is evil and dangerous and possibly killing people, but it's not so easy to get rid of the monkey. 25 years later, Hal and Bill are adults, and they are both played by the same actor, and now 25 years later the monkey is back. So they're gonna have to figure out a way to get rid of the monkey once and for all. So we follow the twin brothers when they were young for a very long time, and also when they are older and everything that happened to them. Even though this premise is quite simple, it is the execution that keeps the movie entertaining. Keep in mind that this is based on a short story, so normally you don't have as much story to go on because it is a very short one, but Perkins adds a lot of things to the story, changes a lot of things, so depends how much of a purist you are when it comes to adaptations. You might enjoy this or not, because obviously if you really love the short story by Stephen King and you don't like things changed, you might not like all the changes that Oz Perkins did. In my opinion, there is a great balance in this movie between dark humor and drama that works really well. This movie is also about generational trauma and how some horrors sometimes in families are passed from fathers to sons. From the very beginning, you realize that the tone of this movie is very, very different from the other Oz Perkins movies. I think it's made very clear from the very beginning, from the prologue that happens at the very beginning, and I think that it already tells you this is going to be fun and bloody. In this dark horror comedy, we have basically a malevolent toy monkey that bangs his drum and that causes people to die. So I also love that with this kind of rather silly concept, the movie also doesn't take itself too seriously. I think that is part of why this movie works when it comes to the dry humor, because it's not trying to be a serious movie, because who would take seriously a movie about a killing toy like this? The humor can be random, but I think it's very well executed. It's not about just cheap jokes. It's about the way that the characters react to certain things. It's about the way that certain lines are being delivered. It's the way some characters' behaviors are. So that's where all the humor comes from and not just from cheap jokes. So for me, the humor worked really well and I found myself hilariously laughing at the cinema. Perkins has always been a formally confident filmmaker, and The Monkey contains some of his most striking imagery. The editors of this movie, who also cut long legs, they certainly know how to time the kills for a great comedic effect. This movie has a running time of 98 minutes, and I think that works perfectly well for this movie. Let's not forget that a lot of movies nowadays are really, really long. A lot of movies are immediately 2 hours long, and when you have a short story that has been adapted, sometimes stretching the story that it's already quite thin, it's not a good thing. So I think the short but good pacing of this movie is also another plus. I read that the director suffered a lot after the loss of his mom because she died in one of the 9/11 attacks. She was in the plane, and it kind of reminded him how random and how fast death can come from all of us. So in a way, this movie is a portrayal of, that experience and how sometimes death comes without a warning, and it's also not kind because it can leave children without their mothers in the blink of an eye. Everybody dies, and that's life. That is also something that the director says in this movie, and I think it's one of the biggest themes of this movie, that death is coming for all of us, for you, for me, for everybody, and you never know the how and the when. It just, it's going to happen. Apart from adapting the short horror story from Stephen King, the director did infuse a lot of his own experiences and his own trauma into this movie, which I really appreciated, and it did elevate the story. A lot of viewers have compared this to Final Destination, and while I see a little bit the resemblance, there is a lot of things that are very different, because the deaths in this movie are not slow and filled of tension, at least not the majority of them. The majority of the deaths in this movie are gonna come really quick. They're going to be bloody and gory and unexpected, and just like bam, somebody dies, next scene. Like, it's cut very abruptly. You don't even have time to recover. There is no time to kind of torture someone or see somebody dying slowly. Like, everything is quick, 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 dead, dead, dead. And it's fun, to be honest. So there are a lot of differences, but I do see why a lot of people would compare this a little bit to Final Destination. Because same as with Final Destination, you know that death is coming for you. Even though in the Final Destination movies, you kind of know who is the target. And in The Monkey, the victims are not specifically chosen. Let me put it that way. So there are differences between these two films. Also in The Monkey, there is no way of cheating death, because in Final Destination we see some characters that are trying to cheat death. In The Monkey, if he chooses you, you're a goner. The kills are a lot. I kind of wish we even had more, but there's a lot of kills and they are bloody and they're gory and they are intense and they're fun and they are very different. Like there's a lot of like a different array of different types of deaths, and that's what makes it fun because not everybody dies the same way and everybody meets, you know, their demise in a fun way. And I don't know, I thought it was messy but wonderful. So this is kind of like a modern splatterpunk movie with dry humor and more than, you know, scares. So keep that in mind. This movie is not exactly scary. One of the things that I would say I can criticize about this movie, even though I really enjoyed it, was when it comes to the horror, the use of CGI. I kind of wish they would have used a lot more practical effects. There are some scenes that you can tell as practical effects and other ones where you can directly tell that it is CGI. So I kind of wish they would have used practical effects for everything. And I guess that's something that I probably say about every movie because I am a supporter of practical effects. I just feel like it just looks so much better on screen. Perkins is having such a blast killing people left and right, and there are no explanations, there are no reasons why these people are being chosen, the people are being killed, because in life nothing is like that either, you know. Life just happens, people just die in mysterious way all of a sudden, unexpectedly, and that is why the box of the monkey also says like life, because life's just like that, life's a bitch. So like I said, the monkey is not exactly scary, it's not unsettling, it's very different in tone from his last movie, Long Legs, which was kind of scary, a lot of tension, very unsettling. This Long Legs was a movie that when I went back home, I was very unsettled by the movie. When I went to bed, I was still thinking about it, traumatized by it. So it's very, very different because that psychological horror is not there. I did give this movie a 3.5 out of 5 because I really, really enjoyed it. I think this is a movie I could rewatch over and over again because it has exactly my type of humor. I think I've said this also before, but like the typical jokes from a lot of slasher movies and, you know, those typical like funny jokes don't work for me, but the humor like this, where it's almost more physical humor, where the characters and the delivery of the lines are what makes this movie funny, and it's very dry black humor, that works for me. So I think that I would revisit this movie for sure. I also appreciated, like I said before, that they changed the instrument to the drum because that worked really well and the movie didn't take itself seriously, which I also liked because otherwise it might not have worked as well. So all in all, I would recommend you to go to the cinema to just have fun with this movie. I would say it's more comedy than horror, and that's the way that you should approach this movie. I still really like the gore though. I think they did a really good job at, you know, presenting these fun death moments. The editing was tight, perfect. The editing was amazing. So I do recommend you to go and watch it. Unfortunately though, the cinema I went to, they did not show the post-credit scene, but this movie does have a post-credit scene. Now, it is not related to the monkey, but it is kind of like a teaser to the new Oz Perkins movie that is going to come out this year in October called Keeper. So it is a series of images of women that are staring directly at the camera, and I have heard that it's supposed to be also about generational trauma. So I'm not sure. I have seen the images on an Instagram post, like on an Instagram video, because I didn't see it in the cinema obviously, but I went to look for it because I wanted to know. So I'm really excited for that one because so far all of his movies have been really solid and have worked for me. So this was my spoiler-free review on The Monkey. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know down below if you have seen the movie and if you enjoyed it or not. Thank you guys as always so much for your support, and I hope to see you all as always in our next coffee time. Bye!